You know, Neil Young is one of my favorite artists of all times. And besides having all of his records, seeing him in concerts many times, I've got some stories to tell. Are you ready? Well, then let's drop the needle. Buffalo Springfield had shattered. Richie left to form Poco. Stephen joined up with Al Kooper and Mike Bloomfield and did Super Session. And Neil Young recorded his first album. His self-titled debut album was released in 1968, which, although contained some great songs, seems way overproduced. In fact, the album was released twice. The first release used an encoding system that was designed to make stereo records compatible with mono record players. Neil hated it. The album was then re-released without the encoding, and the new release added the words Neil Young to the cover. Standouts are, of course, The Loner, I've Been Waiting for You, The Old Laughing Lady, Here We Are in the Years, and the very trippy Last Trip to Tulsa. To say the album from one of the Buffalo Springfield's greatest songwriters was a sales disappointment is a huge understatement. It never even charted in Billboard's Top 200. But it did set the stage for Neil Young's solo career. I recommend it. The songs are great, even if the production is a little weird. In May of 1969, Neil releases Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere with Crazy Horse, and it's a hit, peaking at number 34 on Billboard's charts. The album contains the now classic songs that Neil includes in his live set even today: Cinnamon Girl, Down by the River, and Cowgirl in the Sand. Right around this time, a hot new movie came out that Neil had nothing to do with. It was called Medium Cool, and it was about the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Everybody wanted to go see it, and it included music by the Mothers of Invention. One evening in many of the many theaters around UCLA, Medium Cool is playing, so I decided to go. Now there's a long line of people waiting to get in to buy tickets, and as I walk down the line, I see this guy in a fringe jacket. Yep, there he is, Neil Young, trying to be inconspicuous. So as I get next to him, I can't help it. He looks up at me and I go, "Hey Neil, how's it going?" And instantly his face freezes and his eyes squint and he gets all paranoid, and you can tell he thinks I'm going to hassle him. But I just keep walking by, and when he realizes I'm not, he's going, "Hey man, going great, how are you?" And then the line starts to move, and we go into the theater. Now as it turns out, I sit right behind him, the row right behind him in the balcony to watch the movie. I can't say I remember much of the movie, but I certainly remember talking to Neil Young that night. By August of that year, Neil has joined Crosby, Stills and Nash. They've played Woodstock, and they are on their way to superstardom. Before their first album with Neil, Deja Vu, is released in 1980, they did a lot of touring. I saw them every chance I could. On December 6, 1969, I saw them in Pauley Pavilion at UCLA. Great show and a great concert. And 1 week later, I'm in Chicago, and they're playing there, so I took a couple of my bandmates from the old group The Darkness, and we went to see them. Now, the set lists that they played between that week were pretty similar. And at one point in the show, Stephen goes, "Now I'm going to play a song that I haven't recorded yet." And it was just him sitting with his acoustic guitar. Well, I knew what he was going to say, because I had heard him say it just the week before at UCLA. I stood up in the balcony, and I yelled at the top of my voice from the balcony the title of the song. "Black Queen," I screamed. He stopped what he was doing with the guitar, looked up at the audience, and he goes, "How do you know that?" When Stephen did record it, it appeared on his first solo album. Great songs on a great album. Love the One You're With. Old Times, Good Times, featuring Jimi Hendrix. Go Back Home with Eric Clapton. Sit Yourself Down with Graham Nash. And We Are Not Helpless with Ringo Starr. The album was a big hit. And that night in Chicago, I got to tell Stephen what he was going to sing before he actually sang it. And I got to say hi to Neil Young in the streets of Los Angeles. Many years later, in 2012, I had another opportunity to speak with Neil Young. This was at the Slamdance Film Festival, and he was talking about data rates in music. I got to ask him a question. So I started by saying I was the president of the DVD Association, and we had just given him an award for releasing his archives on Blu-ray, and that Blu-ray had high data rates. He thanked me profusely for that, and then went on to announce what ended up becoming Pono, which was his high-def resolution audio system. Once again, it was fun to talk with Neil Young, and we certainly had a much more meaningful conversation than on the streets of Los Angeles all those years ago. Was I starstruck? You bet. If you liked this episode, hit the like button, and you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll respond to you. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when future episodes come out. Thanks for watching. More stories next time. Keep it rockin'. Most of the albums that I talk about can be found at your local vinyl store or on eBay. Individual songs most likely are on Spotify, Apple Music, or Amazon Music, or even some on YouTube.